Hey friends, Ari Koinuma here, and sorry it's been a while since I posted. But before I get into like the main part of 2019, I wanted to do a bit of a level set first, in terms of what am I talking about when I say impactful song or impactful music. So to me, my definition of impactful music is when you feel something listening to it. Whether you're performing it or whether you're listening to it, the experience of that music makes you feel something down here or in your body. Whether that emotion is, joy or elation or sadness or funniness or humor, I suppose, rage, anger, frustration. Well, okay, so if the music makes you feel frustrated, that's probably because it's not a great song. It's not what the music is conveying to you, it's just you're frustrated at the music. But the music is so expressive and articulate that the experience of it, results in you feeling something. And I think, I know I'm not the only one when I say as a musician or music maker, it's the highest form of compliment when somebody says, hey, your music meant something to me. Your music made me feel something. And if you ask anybody, their favorite song or their favorite piece of music, that's because that song or music makes them feel something. That's like the basis for how a song becomes meaningful to you. And it's really common from the musician perspective to say, yeah, that song really resonated with people. That was lucky, kind of like, yeah, I can't really make it happen or will, but that was a good one that turned out good, right? It's as if you don't have any control over how you craft a song that can be impactful to somebody. On the other hand, I know that film and TV composers are, writing music all day long that makes the audience feel something, whether they realize it or not. It's like, if you watch a horror movie without any music, it's not scary at all, right? They are adept at the craft of creating music that really brings out the emotion. And I thought to myself, hey, we could use some of that same kind of mentality or approach to writing songs like rock songs and really sort of create music from the perspective of saying, yes, I want to express something that is very meaningful to me or very emotional to me, in the hope that the audience might have similar experience. Now, music has many components to it. Just on the high level, I counted 4, songwriting, arrangement, performance, and production. And in order for the music to deliver and create a quality experience, all 4 of these have to be done, well enough, right? They don't have to be perfect, but they have to be done well enough, so that as an audience you feel something out of it. And it's not a small task, and of course there are a lot of instructions on how to get good at performing. There are a lot of instructions on how to get good at production. I am looking at the first 2 because I think there's just less people talking about that part. How do you sort of construct a piece of music that is designed to articulate or express strong and clear feelings from the bottom up, things like the melody, things like the rhythm, things like the harmony, things like the words, right? All these different elements can be sort of aligned to be really razor sharp in expressing something, and when that happens, that's where the magic is in my mind. And it's just, when I think about it, it really fascinates me, and I've been on a lifelong quest to figure out, so what is the mystery, what is the trick or the best practice in terms of assembling that music that then goes out there and then makes people feel something. I am really grateful that I'm born and operating in this time and age where I can afford quality gear at prices, or before, the opportunities weren't there to make, music making ability available to everybody, and to have the opportunity to create something special. It just was not abundant like today. But the flip side of that today is that, it's easy to release something. It's really easy to cut through the noise, and I think that it's really, again, tempting to look at music as basically almost like a merchandise. I think the mentality of hit music producing can really get into more of almost a manipulative mentality of going, okay, if you had this kind of beat, and if you had this kind of lyrics, and if you had this kind of chorus, then it has the maximum chance of being a hit. It's almost like trying to get into the audience's head and say, okay, will this appeal to you? How can I make this music available and attractive to the widest mass of people possible? And in the process, I feel like there's a lot of shallow music. I think that's probably always have been there, but impactful music is kind of like antithesis to what I call disposable music. Music that might stick to your head, or may make you hum, but it doesn't really mean much. And that is really not my goal when I make music, and I suppose there's nothing inherently wrong with making music with that purpose, but I want there to be an alternative. I want there to be somebody else talking about making music from this more expressive, I want to bring out something deep kind of mentality. And I think between those two things, there is definitely a different focus, and when the end goal is different, you bring out different technique and different approach, and you look at your tool set in different ways. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do with this whole idea of impactful music. Is like, I want to recognize impactful music, I want to figure out how they're put together, and I want to ultimately make impactful music. So that's kind of my overview of what I mean when I say impactful music. And like I said, I like to keep on making music. I like to keep on sort of sharing what I'm learning about how to make music, and then I like to sort of talk about artists who are making impactful music, at least in my mind, and that I'm really interested to hear what you think of this, and where have you seen artists or songs that sort of give you sort of this kind of mindset of impactfulness and emotional experience and stuff like that. And together I feel like we can create this kind of a community or a little movement, so to speak, where people who are interested in getting that kind of meaningful experience, and artists who are interested in creating that, can really come together and have a good time together. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.